What's going on, creator? Now, today I wanted to talk about a useful idea called Ikigai. So Ikigai is a Japanese concept that basically breaks down what goes into creating meaningful work. And as we all continue to grow as video creators and storytellers, I think from time to time it's important to reflect on what we're making and why we're making it. Because this will help us all focus on working in a way that's more enjoyable, fulfilling, and sustainable. So, what is Ikigai? Basically, it breaks down into 4 different components. You can think of them as a Venn diagram balancing 4 different ideas.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
So, number 1, you need to find work that pays you. Obviously, money makes the world go round. You need it to pay for things, you need it to live, you need it to operate in society. I'm not gonna get into how you should or shouldn't spend your money, but the point is we all need to be paid something ultimately. When it comes to making money, I think it's useful to think about it in terms of supply and demand for your labor. So on the supply side, you can think of it as how many other people can do your work, how replaceable are you? And then on the demand side, it's useful to think about, are you making something that people actually want? And are they buying what you're selling? But there's also a marketing piece too. There's plenty of talented people out there who don't make very much money because they're not good at showing the value that they're able to provide. And that's why marketing exists in the first place. So, number 2, are you skilled at doing your work? What are your unique talents? Whether it's making videos, sales, marketing, teaching, coding, everyone has some kind of unique skill set that they're able to offer to the world. There's this really good RSA animate that I saw a while ago that talks about what are the different things that incentivize people and organizations, and mastery was one of them. And I think this is related to the idea of flow states. Basically, flow states are this psychological concept. This point is really all about making sure that the work that you're doing lines up really nicely with your skill level, right? If the work is too hard and your skill level isn't high enough, then you're gonna be anxious. And if you're too skilled and the work isn't challenging enough, you're gonna become bored. So it's really important to think about growth and progression when you're considering meaningful work. Point number 3, you gotta do something that you love. This one's really all about knowing what's in your heart. Something might pay you really well or be challenging, but you might not love it. There's plenty of people who are really good at what they do, who are paid tremendous amounts of money, but who just don't like the work that they're doing. And that kind of work ends up being really soul-sucking. Something that I learned a little while back is that there are 2 types of motivators. Intrinsic motivators and then extrinsic motivators. Extrinsic motivators are things like money, power, fame, awards, recognition. They are material-ish things. When you're extrinsically motivated, that just says that whatever you're doing is just a means to an end. Contrast that to intrinsic motivation, where what you're doing is an end in and of itself. These are the kinds of things that we do because they make us fulfilled and they make us feel happy just by doing them. These are things like creating art, spending time with friends, or pursuing hobbies and interests. And finally, the 4th and final component to Ikigai, which is doing something that the world needs. This is a super important point, and I think it really all comes down to values ultimately. There are plenty of problems in the world, too many for any one person to solve on their own. But something I do believe is that we all get to decide if we want to be a part of those problems or part of the solutions. This can be tricky because sometimes it's difficult to even identify what the problem is in the first place. And then even when you have a solution, it's hard to know or measure whether or not it's working. And then even when it is working, a lot of times these solutions have unintended consequences. And sometimes there just is no good solution where everybody wins. Sometimes it's a trade-off and you gotta pick winners and losers. But even in the face of all that, I really do believe that I think we can make a positive impact, even at an individual level. But, and this is the most important point, what you consider to be a positive impact really comes down to what it is that you value. Think about what you want to put out into the world. Is it more joy? Is it more knowledge? Is it hard work? Is it love? Really, the choice at the end of the day is yours. So, when you take these 4 components and you put them together at the center, you have Ikigai. I don't think this is something that's necessarily supposed to be easy to achieve. I think it's probably a lifelong kind of journey and challenge to balance these different components. If it were easy, everyone would do it. But I also think that you don't necessarily have to get it all from one source. So I personally have a job that pays well and I'm pretty good at it. I really love making videos and I enjoy getting better at them. Something that I still feel like I need to work on is doing something that the world needs. All of which kind of brings me back to the inspiration for this video, which was finding your why. It's one of the Notion templates in Creator Now. It's a great exercise. I encourage everyone watching this video to go through it themselves. For me personally, when it comes to making videos, I came out of it with 2 answers. My first why is to help people think for themselves so that they can be free. This why is kind of for people who are watching my videos, and it's inspired by a quote from Socrates, actually, who said, "There's only one good, knowledge, and only one evil, ignorance." But I also came up with a second why, which is a little more personal. It's to tell my story so I can reflect on and learn from my experiences in life. Because making videos has been a great way of capturing some of the most important moments of my life and sharing some of the magic and emotions with my future self and the people closest to me. So that's Ikigai in a nutshell. Hopefully this is helpful for you to find your why. If you like this video, let me know. I'm planning to put out more educational content and I'm always looking for feedback. And that's pretty much it. I'm leaving.